Oh, Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. The only MP we know. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. The borough says so. And you could bring anybody. None of them can be Penny. You could bring UNC and all.
They can't be the PNM in this
constituency. Everyone love Penny.
The only
MP we know in this shattered borough.
Penny.
Penny, Penny, Penny.
The only
MP for Arima.
is Penny we want.
Who we want?
Is Penny we want.
Arima. Who we want?
Penny we want. Is Penny we want. People chanting the anthem.
Singing great is the PNM. It's Penny we want. It's Penny we want. It's Penny we want. It's Penny we want. Hear what Arima say? We voting Penny on election day. Who we voting? I ain't in the side, boy. This side, who we voting? Nice, man. I know we ain't all here. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima.
She don't know how to fail.
She ain't know how to fail. Is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. Penny is a Rima. She will always prevail.
And you look for the constituency in a Rima. She lead the red.
Penny.
A strong lady you could trust. She'll
Voted for all of us.
Penny second to
None.
She'll always
Get the job done.
try that testing.
In everywhere. Vote Penny on election day.
Penny.
Penny, Penny, Penny.
Don't make we choice. You are
The people's voice. It's Penny we want. Let me hear you.
It's Penny we want.
Arima. It's Penny.
We want.
It's Penny we want.
We chanting the anthem.
Singing great is the PNM. It's Penny we want. Who we want? It's Penny we want. It's Penny we want. Who we want? It's Penny we want. Hear what Arima say? We voting Penny on election day. Who we voting? Who we voting? Who we voting? Who we voting? Thank you. The best MP in the world. Mr. Terrence Deyalsingh. Hey, Donna. Good, good, good. Dominic Romain.
It's Penny we want. It's Penny we want. Okay. Arima, today was a very historic day. Am I right? What was today? Today was nomination day. And do you know which party was the only party to field a candidate in every single constituency across the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago? Which party is the only party to give people a good option? The PNM. All the other pickup sites couldn't even field 41 people in 41 constituencies. That tells you that they are in a state of disarray, they are disorganized, and they are simply incapable of providing good, honest, and earnest governance to Trinidad and Tobago. So let's make some noise for the 41 PNM candidates that you will all be resoundingly voting for. On April the 28th, we are less than 3 weeks away from your opportunity to bring forward 41 outstanding representatives, all of whom ought to be from the People's National Movement. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to the meat of the matter now and the serious business. It is my pleasure to introduce this evening's first speaker, Malabar Mausika. You, the people of Malabar Mausika, stand at a pivotal moment in history and in your own history. And Dominic Romain, your PNM candidate, is ready to lead you with experience, with vision, with passion, and with action. A financial financial strategist and community advocate, he has spent over 17 years empowering individuals and businesses through financial education, policy advocacy, and mentorship. So can you imagine what he will do for you, the people of Malabar, Mausika, and wider Trinidad and Tobago? Dominic has helped shape financial security and business growth. His dedication to community development focuses on youth empowerment, job creation, and infrastructure improvement, things that are important to each and every one of us gathered here this evening. His priorities for Malabar Mausika include financial literacy and empowerment, business growth and job creation, youth mentorship and skills training, transparency and accountability, and ensuring that policies truly serve the people. And with a proven track record in leadership and public service, Dominic Romain is ready to serve as the next Member of Parliament, or rather as the first Member of Parliament for the constituency of Mausika Maloney. Arima, PNM, viewing and listening audience, make some noise and welcome the next Member of Parliament for Mausika Maloney, Mr. Dominic Romain.
Arima, good evening. Malabar, Mausika, good evening. Arima, are you red and ready? Arima, are you all in? Nice. The Honorable Penelope Beckles. The Honorable Penelope Beckles, Minister of Planning and Development, and the PNM Standard Bearer for the constituency of Arima, the Honorable Terrence Deyalsingh, Minister of Health. You all not hearing me? The Honorable Terrence Deyalsingh, Minister of Health, the Honorable Donna Cox, Minister of Family Services, Minister of Social Development and Family Services. Good evening all. It is indeed a pleasure for me to bring greetings this evening on behalf of the constituency of Malabar Mausika. Yes. The constituencies of Malabar Mausika and Arima, we share a special bond because our former MP, the late Lisa Morris Julian, was in fact a resident of Arima, lifelong. And as representative of Malabar Mausika, formerly Dabadi Umira, she would have done human service. And so I think we should give her a round of applause in her absence. Yes. It is also a privilege for me to endorse Penelope Beckles as the next Member of Parliament for Arima. I can honestly say Penny is the type of MP that I aspire to be after the 28th of April, when the constituents of Malabar Mausika give me the privilege to represent them in the Parliament. I have seen Penny climbing hills in Paria, in Blanchisseries, doing things that I wouldn't even dream of doing. And I can honestly say that her work ethic is second to none, having served under her for the last 6 years. So, Penny, I say to you, well done. Now, in the short time that I have, I just want to appeal to you all. For the last 8 weeks, I have been walking the constituency of Malabar Mausika, and I've met a lot of people. And I can honestly say that most of them understand the assignment that is before us come April 28th. And that assignment is to ensure that when all of the votes are counted, that victory belongs to the People's National Movement. That the People's National Movement returns to office to govern for the next 5 years. But the other side, that is holding themselves out as an alternative to the People's National Movement, in the words of the former Patrick Manning, they are just not ready, my dear friends. Just not ready. And they're using all kind of tricks to fool you like they did in 2010. So I see they send a man to come up against me in Malabar Mausika with the same first name. 2 Dominics, but there could only be 1 original. The next one is a carbon copy. I just hope after April 28, when he gets the beating of his life, I don't get charged for manslaughter. But they could send who they want. Malabar Mausika is ready and waiting for them. But do not be fooled, because they're spending a set of money trying to buy social media influencers talking about yellow is the code. Be seeing it all over. A set of ads on TV and on radio with falsehoods and misinformation confusing people who don't have the facts. In 2010, they came with Cambridge Analytica. You all remember that? Well, Arima, you all would remember that, because some among your numbers fell for the dreams that they were selling, and remember what happened. Arima was one of the constituencies that ended up in the hands of the People's Partnership, and we know the outcome of that. My constituency, formerly Dabadi Omera, now Malabar Mausika, also fell for the tricks as well. And so they're coming back this time selling you the same dreams and peddling the same tricks. But I want to admonish you, don't fall for it, right? They're going to come with all kind of things and try to sell you things, but if they offer you anything, as we say, what to do? Take it and do what? Vote for the PNM. That's correct. So we will not be fooled, not in Malabar Mausika, not in Arima or any of the other constituencies. We know what we have to do come the 28th of April. And what is that? Vote resoundingly for the PNM, right? And we need to send them a message. So let me just remind you of some of the promises that they made in 2010 that they didn't fulfill. You all remember they promised $3,000 pension at age 60 across the board? And after the election, what they say was a misprint. Night after night, speaker after speaker telling you $3,000 pension at age 60, but like they misspeak too. But they forget they were speaking. They promised you term limits for Prime Minister, 2 terms and you're gone. They promised you fixed election dates, right? No longer will the Prime Minister pull the election date out of his back pocket or his forbes. That's what they told you. They promised you recall legislation. If your MP not performing, you would be able to recall them. All of these things that they promised you, any of that happen? And so they're coming back again with the same tricks, the same promises. I want to ask you all tonight to be ambassadors for the PNM. Familiarize yourself with the truth, right? Because as I started saying, a lot of people understand the assignment, but there are still some people I've met who've said to me, well, you know, they're on the fence. They're still looking out and listening, and they're trying to decide what they're going to do. At this late stage, I can't understand how you still have people who have not made up their minds. The choice is clear. It's the People's National Movement or nothing at all. Look at the slate of candidates that they offered you yesterday. I mean, chalk and cheese. Our party didn't have to pay anybody any money. None of the 41 candidates who hold out themselves to you to be your standard bearers, none of us were paid. The same cannot be said for the other side. And if, as they say, the PNM is so bad and this is the weakest government and the worst, how come they can't beat us by themselves? They always have to form a collision and a coalition to beat us. But we know what we need to do come the 28th of April. So I started off by reminding you what they did in 2010. So let me just close with this. In 2010, you remember they said, do so? They advised the electorate when the PNM come asking for your vote, do so. Well, in 2025, I want to ask you to return the favor. When they come knocking at your door, when they come ringing your doorbell, good evening, and looking for votes, tell them, rock so, in the words of our Prime Minister. Keep walking. And if they don't know how to do that, tell them, talk to the leader. She will give them a tutorial. And come April 28th, get up early in the morning. Have a good breakfast. Call your friends, call your family, and tell them we're going to vote. Go to the polls early. Cast your ballot. Ram your finger in the ink up to your elbow. And if you could reach your shoulder, do that. But don't smudge the ballot because we don't want to recount. And on the night of April 28th, when all of the ballots have been counted and the results come in favor of the PNM, return to office. We will all shout, whether you're sitting in your house, the campaign office, or you meet at Bali's house, we will all shout in one voice, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we would have prevailed. I thank you.
Arima, please make some noise for our PNM standard bearer for the constituency of Malabar Mausika, Mr. Dominic Romain. A young, dedicated, and committed man, ready to take charge of the newly named constituency of Malabar Mausika. I think we can give him another round of applause. He did well. Please allow me to welcome Ms. Gabrielle James, a proud daughter of the soil of Arima, serving as chairman of the Arima Youth League and newly elected education officer of the PNM's National Youth League, a final year medical student. She brings passion, purpose, and people-centered leadership to the forefront of Arima. Committed to empowering Arima's youth and building a healthier, stronger Trinidad and Tobago. Arima, make some noise for your very own
Good night, PNM family! How you feeling? Now, with all protocols being observed, it is a great honor for me as a final year medical student to introduce our next speaker, a true leader, advocate for progress, and champion for the well-being of his people. This speaker has dedicated his life to public service. Before entering public politics, he was an established pharmacist, and since 2015, he has served as the MP for the then constituency of St. Joseph and Minister of Health. His remarkable leadership as minister has been displayed both far and wide, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, guiding the nation through unprecedented challenges with resilience and vision. He has worked tirelessly to improve the healthcare system through infrastructure development and much more, ensuring that every citizen has greater access to the care they deserve. But his work extends far more beyond healthcare. As a dedicated servant of the people, he has continuously championed through his parliamentary debates as a plethora of initiatives that would assist the betterment of our nation. Beyond his professional accomplishments, what makes this speaker truly special is his deep compassion, humility, and a strong sense of community. And how can I forget? He could roll a good tassa. Whether in Parliament or engaging with his constituents in St. Joseph, he's approachable and always listens with an open heart for service. Arima, please join me in welcoming the next MP for Arang West St. Joseph, the Honorable Mr. Terrence Deyalsingh.
Hello, Arima! Arima, how are you tonight? Are you okay? So, I am the last of 4 children. My parents had, their first child was a girl. So like they had the name Terrence put aside for her. The second child was a girl. So like they had the name Dennis put aside for she. The third child was a girl. So like they had the name Edison put aside for she. The fourth child was a boy. So they named me Terrence Dennis Edison Deyalsingh. You think it's off? You think it's off? May I recognize the Honorable Penny Beckles Robinson. And because my time is limited and there's a clock here, all protocols observed. My friends, I want you to understand something. For those who don't understand and learn from history, it is going to repeat itself. How many of you remember the government of 1986 to 1991? If you were not born then, or at least be an adult, you would not know what this country went through. Because the population then believed in a coalition called the NAR. I see this young lady nodding yes. If you are under 50, you would not know what this country went through when the PNM lost and we had 3 seats in the parliament. Because the NAR, this coalition of interest, similar to the People's Partnership and similar to the 41 people that line up today with Kamala, coalitions don't work. They are unstable. But in NAR times, what was the first thing they did to this country? Anybody can remember? They invited somebody called the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, to Trinidad and Tobago. Tanti, you remember those days? And what was the first thing the IMF told the NAR to do? Cut public servants' salary by 10% across the board. That's the first thing. Now you are hearing Kamala Persad-Bissessar running up and down this country. Well, sorry, she can't run. I apologize to the goodly lady. She stands up behind a podium and, yeah, like. And she tells you, I will do this, I will do that, I will do the other, I will spend this, I will spend that. And you know what she never tells you? Where the money coming from. But worse, she has 2 union leaders, Ansel Roger and the newly elected president of the PSA, telling public servants, we will start negotiations at 10%. Well, let me tell workers something here tonight. If you follow Kamala Persad-Bissessar and you get that 10% or 15% pay increase, I will guarantee you the following. Within the first month when they get your first paycheck, you're going by courts. And you're taking out TV, fridge, stove, whatever. You're going by Answer and Toyota and you're buying a new car because you're happy. You get money in your pocket. Auntie Kamala delivered. But when the money starts to run out and after 6 months she cannot pay public servants, you know what she's going to do? Just like the NAR that Basti Pandey joined up with, she will invite who? The International Monetary Fund. And the first thing they will tell you to do is devalue the dollar from 7 to 1 to 15 to 1. And them same public servants who taken chain up from Roger and PSA, when they get fired, don't come by me and Penny, you know. Don't come by Stuart, you know. Go by Auntie Cams. Go by Roger and say, I want my money, I want my job. Because the first thing the IMF does to our country is introduce something called austerity measures. You know what austerity means? The IMF don't like programs, social programs like CPEP. They don't like that. They don't like URP. You see Minister Cox here, who pays old age pension to 110,000 people. They don't like that. They don't like that. You see free medicine in the hospital. They don't like that. How many people in this crowd, as Minister of Health, let me introduce you to something now. You take this health system for granted. How many of you know somebody with breast cancer, with prostate cancer? Has it ever occurred to anybody in this country what it costs to produce that free radiation that you get from the government? You know why? Because you don't have to pay for it. You know what I sign off on every week to send people like you for free radiation? If you had to pay for that, if Tanti Cams gets away with a populist movement and tell you, vote for me, I will do this, I will do that, all of you who get free radiation, all of a sudden, you have to find, listen to this figure here, $153,000 to pay to a private provider to get that radiation. How many of you can afford that? None. None. That is what we have done for this country. So you follow Kamla, you follow Roger, you follow the PSA, and think everybody will get manna dropping from heaven. You will reap the reward. It will be hell, going to hell in a handbasket for Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC, unlike the PNM, we have your long-term interests at heart. During COVID, we never missed paying a public servant. During COVID, we never missed paying CPEP, URP. During COVID, we did everything to keep mind, body, and soul of Trinidad and Tobago together. Very often, I meet the most ardent UNC supporter. And you know what they tell me? They say, Terrence, I'm a UNC. I will never vote PNM. But let me tell you something. I am so glad that the PNM was in office for COVID, because the UNC will never have taken the hard decisions that you all took. Because we, yes, clap for that. Because we understand leadership. We understand our commitment to country. We are patriotic. We will not tell you what you want to hear. We will tell you what you need to hear. And you need to hear the truth. And the truth is, the only party that has your best long-term interests at heart, and notice the word I am using, long-term interest. Governance is not about winning an election. Governance is about getting into office to see about the people's business. Governance is not getting into office to thief. Governance is not getting into office to thief. Because that coalition in 2010 to 2015 was the most corrupt government in the history of the Commonwealth. In the history of the Commonwealth. Are you going to give them a second chance? Are you going to give them a second chance? That is the NAR coming back, inviting the IMF to come back here and take away food from you. So ladies and gentlemen, as I close, vote for a party that is not only red, vote for a party that is not only ready, but vote for a party that is responsible. Responsible. And come Monday, April the 28th, you will be red and ready in the north in Blanchishes, Las Cuevas. Let me hear you. You will be red, ready and responsible in the east in Valencia. Let me hear you. You will be red and ready in the south in Waterfield. Let me hear you. You will be red and ready in Mausica lands in the west. Red and ready. And we will beat them in the north. We will beat them in the south. We will beat them in the west. And on that fateful night, we will say with one great voice, as you stand with me, stand up, people. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. We will say, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And by God, we have prevailed. Thank you.
noise and happiness and merriment, Minister Deyalsingh delivered an extremely serious message to us here tonight. The choice is clear. It's either you want an irresponsible, reckless government that is willing to sacrifice all of the social programs that are in place for you, or you want a government that is ready and responsible and ready to continue to take care of you and to build upon the last 9.5 years of excellence governance in Trinidad and Tobago. Who are you voting for on April 28th, Arima? Who are you voting for in Arangua, St. Joseph? Who are you voting for in Malabar, Mausika? Who are you voting for in Aruka? In Aruka, which one? Anybody here supporting Marvelous Marvin? And so, ladies and gentlemen, we continue with our program. It is my pleasure to introduce our next presenter. He is no stranger to any one of us. He's a distinguished businessman emerging from the soil of Arima. He has served decades and decades right here in our beautiful Royal Chartered Borough. And his is a distinct privilege to currently serve as the mayor of Arima. Would you please welcome to the microphone our very own, His Worship the Mayor of Arima, Alderman Bali Ram Maharaj, and as many of us know him, Uncle Bali. Please welcome Mayor Maharaj.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson Lazama. Back to Arima. We get back with Arima people. Welcome back. My niece, I think she called me Uncle Bali. I wish to acknowledge all established protocols. But I want to recognize one person with the permission of the chairman in this crowd. Mr. Ashton Ford called me yesterday. He said, Bali, he's my advisor. You have to say a few words tomorrow. And, but don't make it longer than 45 minutes. I said, but Ashton, 45 minutes? It's too much. He said, you're there for what? I said, 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm a partner, and I can say, either you deaf or I can't hear. As Mayor of Arima, it is my distinct honor to address you this evening to this momentous occasion. Tonight, we gather here under the banner of the People's National Movement, PNM, the only true political party of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'll tell you why later on. A party that has championed progress, unity, development for our entire nation. This afternoon marks the official launch of the campaign for Ms. Penelope Beckles Robinson as she seeks to return to the House of Representatives as our Member of Parliament for Arima in the upcoming general election on April 28. Penny's remarkable political career speaks volume about dedication and service to country. From the beginning as a councillor, her roles as a senator, member of parliament for Arima, UN ambassador, IDB governor. You want to say? A lot of you already know that. IDB governor presently, and minister of various portfolios, including her most recent role in planning and development. Penny has consistently demonstrated excellence and commitment Our track record is nothing short of inspiring, as we in ARIMA take immense pride in endorsing her once again. Tonight, we stand united, not just as a constituency, but members of a movement that is committed to build brighter future. Under the leadership of the incoming Prime Minister, Honorable Stuart Young, we are confident that the People's National Movement will continue its legacy, service, progress to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. At the same time, we intend to extend our gratitude and pay tribute to Dr. Keith Rowley for his outstanding leadership and contributions toward Trinidad and Tobago in his tenure as the Prime Minister. His Dr. Rowley's dedication has left an indelible mark on our nation's development, and we wish him fulfilling retirement. Let me move away from my text a little bit for that. Permit me. Ashton, to leave a position when you taste power, it takes a great man. That is 1 in a million to do that. And I respect him for that. So as he retires, we wish him the best, good luck, and we hope, not only that, a good leader is a failure if you don't train another leaders or other leaders. What he did, he trained a new Prime Minister for us. What a better man he couldn't choose of. A fellow who comes with a quality family from the banking system. Now let us reflect on the timeless words. This is important for all of us here, and we have to be careful. I will not call any party name or people, but I'm going to tell you something about history here today. Let's go back to the beginning, 69 years ago, for the People's Charter of 56. Dr. Eric Williams stated, "We are not an ordinary party in the narrow sense of the word. We are rather a rally, a convention of all or for all, a mobilization of forces in the community cutting across, here this one, cutting across race, religion, class, and color, with the emphasis on united action by all people for a common cause." That is the words of Dr. Williams. And ladies and gentlemen, this was repeated. I was there in 1996, Belmont Secondary, September 26. Dr. Rowley repeated these words. This is in true national party. A national party is something like this. Today we had people join for positions. When it happened, some get elected, some didn't. But when you look at the ground, everybody is one. That is what you call a national party. They don't take minor things. Go back to history in Grenada. They had coalition government. They get killed in Bishop. They have other parties here in the past that joined in the last one election, make up numbers. It didn't last. This government, over the last years, teaching the new Prime Minister, had put on a lot of work, and we have to let it continue. If that thing all fall down for all of us, as a man in the business, I feel it will be detriment to this country if there's a change. And I say it from the bottom of my heart. I will not lie. Ladies and gentlemen, in 16 years, I will be 100 years. I have no reason to come and lie here. I have no reason to talk any ill speak about anybody. But my job as a senior citizen is to guide you all to think what is better for your children and from your grandchildren and your children to come. So these words resonate deeply into as we celebrate 41 candidates who represent unity and diversity, a true reflection of Trinidad and Tobago's strength. Tomorrow, get your paper, look at the 41 candidates and see what is a national party. They then have them from corner to corner. I say no more. Tonight is all about MP Penelope Beckles, a leader who has worked extremely hard in Arima and its surrounding areas. She cannot do it alone. She cannot do it alone. We need your support, our support, to continue our invaluable work in transforming lives in the communities. So as we stand at Arima, iconic dial landmark, symbol of unity and progress, to pledge unwavering support for your next Minister Beckles for Arima. And I want to say two last things with the permission, Mr. Ford. I want to make it clear with Dominic. This gentleman here, there's word a lot. He belongs to Arima. I know him as a little boy. Decent little boy. I pledge. He is from Peytonville. I want the full support for him. He grew up in Arima, and I want a round of applause for him. He is the next representative. Please. Thank you, and God bless all of us. But in closing, let's say it together. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And all of us shall be veiled. Thank you very much. Permit me at this time. I would like to introduce the next speaker. Again, my friend, the Honorable Donna Cox, Social and Family Services. Donna Cox is a dedicated public servant who has made significant contribution to Trinidad and throughout her career. I must step out of this text. Ms. Donna Cox used to work at flour mills. I was a businessman. When I went there, the doors was open. It didn't have we and them. Public relation to the extent. And I think is one of the greatest persons. We remain friends from then to now, and she's still the same Donna Cox. Ladies and gentlemen, I now give you. Let us warmly welcome the Honorable Donna Cox.
Everybody now, let's go. Hey. Victory is the name. Yes, Lord. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Lord has provided more than enough, no matter where I go. Oh, victory is my name. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Lord has provided.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know I have a timer here, so I have to be careful with my salutations. The Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson, our next Member of Parliament for Arima. The Honorable Terrence Deyalsingh, our next Member of Parliament for Arang West St. Joseph. the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, our next Member of Parliament for Aruka Lopino, and Mr. Dominic Romain, your next Member of Parliament for Malabar Mausika. His Worship the Mayor of Arima, Alderman Bali Ram Maharaj, councillors and aldermen, constituency executive and members, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, PNM people in your great numbers, good evening again. The code is red. Ready and responsible. I stand here today to give full support to my cabinet colleague and friend, Minister of Planning and Development, your next Member of Parliament for Arima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson, as she formally launches her campaign to retain her seat as the Member of Parliament for Arima. I must thank Minister Beckles for her kind invitation for me to speak here today. Actually, it's the first time I'm speaking in a public meeting in Arima. So some of you may believe that given Minister Beckles Robinson's immense popularity, it is a foregone conclusion that the retention of her seat is assured. And in fact, you are right. Many believe that it's simply a matter of finding out how many votes she will defeat her opponent. Also, we all know that Arima is a solid PNM constituency and it will remain so. I too can attest that my friend is a caring, hard-working Member of Parliament, since I am in constant receipt of letters from her asking for assistance for her constituents. But the PNM, as you all know, believes in taking nothing and no one, least of all the constituents of Arima, for granted. Let us remember that Arima leads the way all the time. Arima was the country's first royal chartered borough. Arima gave this country its first Speaker of the House, Mr. Arnold Tomasas. Arima gave this country our youngest mayor in the person of Ashton, the hardest hard Ford. Arima has also given to Trinidad and Tobago Penelope Beckles Robinson, a fearless fighter. She is also a woman of charm and grace, a political warrior for the people of Arima and the PNM. A woman who can just easily dine with kings as she can play a game of all fours with the men on the block, that is. Come the night of April 28th, Arima will lead again as being the first constituency to be declared in the favor of the People's National Movement. Our penny deserves no less. And I want you to know that this penny cannot be bought for change. The other side, though, continues to come at all of us with their lies and their recklessness. In fact, I recently saw an advertisement on television with a gentleman speaking about the UNC, and the UNC gave him this, and the UNC gave him that, and we took his pension. And I actually know the gentleman. He is not even a senior citizen pensioner. He's not in receipt of a pension. So don't get caught with their lies. He actually worked at TSTT, so he's not a pensioner. So you look at all those ads, and of course, remember that most of them are being paid to make up stories. The lies continue. Remember that the lies will continue up until the day of elections. So you must therefore remain ready, responsible, and resolute in your commitment to the party and the government. Minister Deyalsingh spoke about COVID-19, so I wanted to know if he saw a part of my speech, you know. But you know, the other side did nothing. You know all the work that we did. And the other side did nothing to rescue this country from COVID-19. Actually, their solution was that sunlight was the cure for COVID. Also, you must surely recall the lack of support and the public vilifying of our health professionals at the front line of saving lives, as your PNM government fought with them to also save your livelihoods. The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, which I have the pleasure of leading, was at the forefront of this effort. Our party, while in government, fights for you in a responsible manner. And of course, it was mentioned about the other side leading us down the IMF road. And we better be careful, because if they get a chance, they will indeed do that. And we have been hearing about all manners of enticements being offered in exchange for your vote on April the 28th. Yet, have they given you the courtesy of the indication where that money will be coming from? Your PNM government continues to act responsible, and of course, just remember, we are not an OJT government. This is a critical time in our country, and we must show that we have a proven track record treating with crisis, not on the other side, who are a coalition of misfits. This election is about saving the soul of Trinidad and Tobago from the greedy, grasping, and gluttonous hands of the United National Congress. And while for many, there is no question about who should form the next government, there are still some who are being influenced by social media bloggers. And we all know that they were paid. Some were paid 40,000, some 50, and even more. There are still many young people out there who have no interest in politics, believing that it does not affect them in any way, when that nothing could be further from the truth. And that is why we have to demonstrate to all and sundry that we are the PNM, we are red and we are ready, and we are responsible, and of course we are resolute. So PNM family, over the last 9.5 years, your PNM government has consistently demonstrated that we have the country's best interests at heart. And because of that, we have taken some decisions that may not have always been popular, but have always been in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what is important. And just 2 nights ago, our Prime Minister announced the removal of taxes on public service pensions and school uniforms, putting more money in the hands of so many of our citizens. And you know, when a few people say that they are unsure of what this government has done for them, I want to share this with you. The World Bank, in a recent report on the review of the social expenditure system here in Trinidad and Tobago, that report stated, and it compared social protection expenditures in other regions. It revealed that social protection in Trinidad and Tobago surpasses that of many countries in the Caribbean and other Latin American countries. Actually, it is 4 times larger than that of low-income countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, and higher than that of middle-income countries in the region. So in fact, it's only Brazil and Argentina, and they are much larger countries than Trinidad and Tobago. They are the only ones who had higher social protection expenditure than Trinidad and Tobago, and that's something that you need to know. And this, of course, is because of a caring PNM government. I want to quickly share with you, from the perspective of where I sit as Minister of Social Development and Family Services, some of the benefits provided to the poor and vulnerable in our society. And let me start by stating once and for all that your PNM government has no intention of placing a limit on people's savings, no intention of interfering with any pensioners' benefits. Do not be fooled by that same UNC leader in 2010, which promised government pensioners an increase in their pension, and Dominic mentioned it, an increase in their pension after the age of 60. And after they were in government, they declared that it was a misprint. Don't forget that. Don't be fooled twice, good people of Arima. A caring government must be responsible, and of course, a caring government must be trustworthy. Friends, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but the country needs to be reminded as well that over the 9.5 years, this government, your PNM government, has spent an average of $5 billion annually to ensure that a whole range of social services was delivered to the poor and vulnerable in Trinidad and Tobago. We went through a whole COVID-19 pandemic experience for 2.5 years, and never once did senior citizens receive their pensions late. Never once persons did not receive their disability grant. Never once did they not receive their public assistance grant or food support. Public servants receive their salaries and wages every month, like clockwork. We actually increased some of the grants during COVID-19 time. For example, we increased our rental assistance grants, and we added income support for those who had issues with regards to work. So I can tell you today, more than 1/4 of this national population is in receipt of some kind of grant or subsidy from this government, your PNM government, because we are doing everything to ensure that no one is left behind. Do not listen to the nonsense some are preaching about the government removing or interfering with that pension. Read my lips. The government is not reducing or interfering with anyone's pension. And I repeat it again. Ladies and gentlemen, people of Arima, as the Minister of Social Development and Family Services, if anyone can tell you, I am the one to tell you that. Not only is your pension safe, but our Prime Minister indicated that we will be doubling the number of food cards being given to those in need. And we can do that because we in the PNM are responsible. Friends, the ministry is not only about dispensing grants, but we also is about empowering persons. And we have many programs in place to empower those who need it most. I am pleased to announce that we will be establishing a local public assistance office in Arima. And I think that deserves a clap. We are bringing social welfare closer to you. Because at this point, I know you have to go to the Tunapuna office, and some have to go to Sandy Grande office. So I want you to know that we have already acquired a building, we have already awarded a contract, and therefore the outfitting is taking place, and this should be ready in the next quarter of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, burgesses of this constituency, members of this constituency, the PNM is ready to lead this country into government again for the next 5 years. When you look at the PNM structure, our organization, our policies, our programs, our plans, our party machinery, one cannot help but walk away with a sense of pride and a sense of comfort that the PNM knows what we are about, and we are always willing to lead, and we are always willing to be responsible. Contrast that, ladies and gentlemen, with a party that announces its slate of candidates the night before nomination day. That could never happen in the PNM. You have known that Penny is your candidate since the night she was screened at Bali Ram House. Contrast that again, ladies and gentlemen, a party that moves its candidates around like pawns on a chessboard, all to suit the Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that the UNC is neither ready nor responsible. It is clear that notwithstanding their calls for election, they were caught sleeping on the job. And by the way, I see a name, Nigel Moses. Who is Nigel Moses? Anybody know who Nigel Moses is? That is the level of disrespect that the UNC has for the people of Arima. The night before election day is when the opposition leader tells us who the candidate is for Arima. Well, if anybody here know Nigel Moses, let him know that he loses his deposit already. He could have saved that $5,000, and in fact, he could have used it to sponsor the night of election when we celebrate the Arima victory. Because he's coming against the might. He's coming against the might of Queen Penny and the PNM, and all of us who are ready and responsible. So people of Arima, you have a job to do on April the 28th. Get up early, say your prayers, take a bath, go out and vote. More resoundingly that you have done in the previous elections. Vote for the PNM. Vote for Penelope Beckles Robinson, and ensure that the PNM returns for a third consecutive term in government. And we all know, a vote for Penny is like money in the bank, not small change. And she continues to bring real change to the people of Arima. Penny knows and shows that we in the PNM love you and will take good care of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank God for his goodness and his mercy towards us as we declare victory on April the 28th. And we know, of course, that God is the greatest. So having all been resolute and responsible, we all say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have prevailed. I thank you and may God bless you.
Everybody now, let's go. Hey.
Arima, make some more noise for Senator the Honorable Donna Cox, Minister of Family and Social Services. This penny cannot be bought for. This penny cannot be bought for. I hear you. So, Arima, our next entertainer, he's no stranger to the PNM stage. In 2015, he gave us an anthem. In 2020, he came back and added again and gave us another anthem. So I want you to stand, raise the flags, and welcome I, Sasha!
Check, check. All protocols observed. Everybody, good night. PNM family, all the feeling! All in red and ready? We all in, we all in. Read them up, read them up. Don't you know your love is so deep, and I'm wanting you, girl. Missing you, wanting you, girl. Say, don't you know your love is one of her kind, and I'm wanting you, girl. Missing you. That one ya name, cause in Telegram, when I got to the one to the in hand. To the picture when I made this, me a new world in hand. Love under the cover with some sweet slow song. And I'm in his girlfriend, baby, and hold your hand. Like to be the wife of Brandon the young. But take your time, second long, because we are young. We don't lying back all night neither. If you love the PNM family, I want to hear your voice. Come on, sing it. Say, don't you know your love is so deep, and I'm wanting you, girl. Missing you, wanting you, girl. Say, don't you know your love is one of her kind, and I'm wanting you, girl. Missing you, wanting that one ya name. Tell them say, tell them to the low, no, 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 to the low, so the balalai, tell them to the low, no, oh, I love is one of a kind. Say, tell them to the low, no, to the low, so the balalai, tell them to the low, Pool. PNM family is one of a kind. PNM family already. So let me hear some voices again. Next tune.
The following is a paid political announcement.
PNM family. Let me see some flags. Tell me, are you ready? Let me see some rocks, some bodies here. Our country, we forwarded with red army, yeah. I want to hear every voice, come on. Say, let's do this. Should be a go by you ready, yeah. We rolling with the red army. You're for the love of your country. Place your vote for the PNM family. Should be a go by you ready, yeah. We rolling with the red army. You're for the love of your country. Please your vote for the PNM family. Say, come on, my people, let's stand together. Underneath the red, white, and black banner, yeah. Burn out corruption like leaves, it a scatter. Tricks and insult the people, them flattered. The partnership done sink already. We voting steady with. If you love PNM family, come on everybody! Yeah, 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 yeah. Sing it! Say let's do this. Trinbago, are you ready? Yeah. We rolling with the red army. You for the love of your country. Place your vote for the PNM family. Trinbago, get ready. Yeah. We rolling with the red army. You for the la 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 la. We often boast and say God is a Trini. A blessed nation, the Caribbean envy. All of a sudden like the place get heavy. Things not move right, cause God no like ugly. Say come on my people, let's do this together. Build back this nation for one another. Say come on, the children deserve better. Brighter days, Arima. So let's do this. Trinbago, are you ready? Yeah. We rolling with the red army. For the love of your country, place your vote for the P. I need all you. Trinbago, are you ready? Yeah? We rolling with the red army. You're for the la 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 la. Dr. Kitty Rowley, a leader phenomenal. The partnership full of pirates and criminal. Send for the doc, cause the state is critical. Surgery to perform, and his country's political structure. And he is the doctor we need. 24 years veteran, we born to lead. On the 28th, we all the brain on the X. Hey, so let's do this. Trinbago, are you ready? Yeah. We rolling with the red army. You're for the love of your country. Place your vote for the PNM. Arima, are you ready then? Penny, are you ready then? Arima, love all you. PNM family. Big man thing.
Arima, let me hear you make some noise for Sasha. As we continue in tonight's proceedings, please join me in welcoming a young man that hails from the constituency of Aruka Lopino. He is the secretary of the Aruka Lopino Constituency Youth League. So please help me in welcoming the young, the dedicated, the hardworking Mr. Shane John.
One, two, PNM family, how are they feeling? Arima, how they looking nice? Y'all can do much better than that. Arima, how they looking nice? PNM family, are you ready? PNM family, are you ready? It is indeed a pleasure to join you here in the constituency of Arima for the launch of the Honorable Penelope Beckles campaign tonight. Tonight, I have the privilege to introduce to you my Member of Parliament, your keynote speaker here in the College of the Dial of Arima. My friends, come April 28th, you have to make the right choice and ensure that the People's National Movement is all in for Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, I have the honor to introduce to you a man of standard, a man who is all in for Trinidad and Tobago. He delivers. He gets the job done. My friends, he entered into the public service in 1995 as a police officer. In 2003, he became an attorney at law with 22 years of service called to the local bar. He has been instrumental in the implementation of the demerit point system, which has helped curb our road fatality record since 2019. He entered into the political arena in 2020, sending a powerful signal to Jack and the Yellow Fellows, becoming the Member of Parliament for Lupino Bonner West. Ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership of Dr. Kit Christopher Rowley, he led the Ministry of Public Utilities with precision and proficiency. He has been dubbed one of the best ministers of public utilities in recent history. Under our current Prime Minister, he remains resolute in his conviction to ensuring that we address the situation of crime in Trinidad and Tobago as your Minister of National Security. In Aruca, we call him Marvelous Marvin. You know him as Marvin Gonzalez. Brothers and sisters, help me welcome your keynote speaker, the next Member of Parliament for Aruca Lupino, Marvin Gonzalez.
We don't want no bad vibes in the land.
PNM! PNM posse! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! And we shall, and we will always prevail. Great is the PNM, we shall always prevail. Let us thank the 41 winning PNM candidates, the only political party in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago that fielded 41 candidates in this general election. That is PNM for you. That is PNM for you. But before I start, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank my honorable colleague, your esteemed Member of Parliament for the constituency of Arima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson, for inviting me to this podium to give remarks and to give the feature speech. Let me also welcome and recognize my parliamentary and cabinet colleagues, the Honorable Terry Deyalsingh, the Honorable Donna Cox, and the next Member of Parliament for the constituency of Dabadi O'Meara, Mr. Dominic Romain. And of course, I am seeing my beautiful constituents of Aruca Lupino representing wide in the house. Let's welcome Aruca Lupino to the beautiful constituency of Arima. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Arima, and I have worked over the last 4 to 5 years with your Member of Parliament, the Honorable Penny Beckles, to improve the utility services in this constituency. Just weeks ago, we turned the sword for the refurbishment of the Guanapo water treatment plant that will improve the supply of water to the town of Arima, that will bring 24/7 supply of water to the town of Arima for the very first time. We turned that sword, and in 18 months, this new Guanapo water treatment plant will produce over 3 million gallons of water more per day. That will improve your supply of water and will bring immediate water relief to the town of Arima and all surrounding communities all over Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you, Minister Beckles, because in her capacity as Minister of Planning and Development and Governor of the IDB, Minister Beckles worked tirelessly in the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago to ensure that we get access to resources to improve your supply of water and the water supply of all over Trinidad and Tobago. It is your Member of Parliament. We visited about 2 years ago to that beautiful town and that beautiful village of Lalaha. You know where Lalaha is located? Minister Beckles, someone who holds dear to our heart so many rural communities in Trinidad and Tobago. We journey to Lalaha and bring first-time water supply to that rural community. And today they have access to 24/7 level of service. Give it up to your Member of Parliament. We also turned the sword for the major upgrade to the North Orapooch water treatment plant,
which will not only provide the people of Arima and surrounding communities with a more reliable supply of water, but in nearby Dabadi, in nearby Mausika, in Sangre Grande, in Valencia, in La Hoqueta, in my constituency of Aruca Lopino, you will once and for all receive a reliable supply of water when that major plant upgrade is completed within the next 8 months. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp for greatness in Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to warn you, do not put God out of your thought and change the trajectory of development for the people of Trinidad and Tobago by removing the stable and resilient political party that now forms the government in Trinidad and Tobago and put a band of thieves and a band of vagabonds in the corridors of power. It must not happen, because your children's future will be in peril if that should ever happen. I come here today not to expound too much on my previous portfolio as Minister of Public Utilities. You would have heard Shane, and let's give it up for Shane, because I forget to mention to you that even though Shane works closely with your Member of Parliament and your Minister of Planning and Development, Shane is an esteemed member of the constituency of Aruca Lopino. So Shane belongs to we. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your Minister of National Security. I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister Stuart Young for reposing that trust and confidence in me to ensure your security is preserved here in Trinidad and Tobago. It is a serious responsibility and one that I intend to work very hard and give every sinew in my body to ensure that law and order return to Trinidad and Tobago once and for all. Because a small section in this community who chooses a life of crime and criminality must not have us uncomfortable in our homes and uncomfortable in our communities. We will take every resource that is available to us in the government of Trinidad and Tobago and ensure that our law enforcement agencies are resourced and equipped, and we are going to push back against every single criminal in this country. We're going to push back against them. We will be relentless against them, and we will ensure that all of the arms of this state will be utilized, because we in Trinidad and Tobago, we deserve better. And they must not be used to describe us, because Trinidad and Tobago, the vast majority of us, are peaceful, law-abiding people. And they must not be used to describe us. But today, the UNC, they want to use crime as one of their major ammunition to attack your People's National Movement government. This is the same party that took every opportunity in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, they have used their power in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago and blocked every single piece of legislation that we attempted to pass in the Parliament to ensure that criminals are pushed back and that they are jailed for all times. They have pushed back against every single piece of legislation. Remember, this is the same UNC government when we put God out of our collective thoughts and put them in government in 2010. They were responsible for dismantling every single arm of national security in Trinidad and Tobago, including the Special Anti-Crime Unit. They dismantled all of the air assets in Trinidad and Tobago that was put in place to defend us from against the criminals. They dismantled our naval assets that was put in place, that was invested upon to ensure that our borders were secured, that drugs and ammunition do not enter into our shores, that go into the hands of criminals and go into the hands of the drug dealers. They dismantle all of these national security assets, and today, ladies and gentlemen, they now want to pose as pretending as though they are the solution to crime. But I want to remind you something here tonight, because I don't have much time and I don't have much time to waste. I want you to understand, I want you to listen carefully, because we are being listened to and this meeting is broadcast live on national media. I want to read a Trinidad Express report by one Rhea Tate of February the 28th, 2020. And the report goes as follows. Listen carefully. Gary Griffith. And it goes on to say, Oropouche East MP Rudal Munilal and two UNC deputy political leaders, one of whom is a senator and another who used to be managing the director of the Housing Development Corporation, HDC, have been named in evidence given to the Joint Select Committee on National Security as having connections with known gang leaders. Are you hearing me? A Joint Select Committee of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago heard evidence that one Oropouche East MP Rudal Munilal, one of whom is a senator, a deputy political leader of the UNC, and a former director of the HDC, having been named as evidence given to the JSC as having connections with known criminal gang leaders. The UNC has three deputy political leaders: Jolene John, Khadijah Amin, and David Lee. Testimony was given to the committee by both Minister of National Security, as he was then, Minister Stuart Young, and Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith. And the committee tabled this interim report in the House of Representatives in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. The committee report, which summarized the evidence, stated that the Oropouche East MP had planned a meeting with two gang leaders in his constituency, but the meeting was aborted because they got wind that the police was on to them. The report said the MP became aware that there was a planned police surveillance of the meeting, and he told the Commissioner of Police what he knew, something which caused the Commissioner to tell the Joint Select Committee that he was concerned about the major breach of confidentiality of the Special Investigating Unit. The committee was also told that after certain individuals had a dispute at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, Munilal paid the Hyatt bill of $580 of these individuals, one of whom was a known drug and robbery offender who was taken into custody after responding to police officers who were informed that there was an outstanding warrant for his arrest. You understand what I'm telling you here? You understand the impact of what is being tabled and what was tabled in the Joint Select Committee of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, that sitting members of Parliament associated with the United National Congress has certain dealings with drugs and gang leaders involved in criminal activities in Trinidad and Tobago. You heard the name David Lee being mentioned in this report. You heard the name Jolene John being mentioned in this report, because it is tabled, and if you go to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, it will be available for you to read. What David Lee mentioned in the report, because he is associated or perhaps a senior ranking member of the UNC. Jolene John, a senior ranking member of the UNC. Khadijah Amin, a senior ranking member of the UNC. And Munilal, a senior ranking member of the UNC. All of these people, you the people of Arima, are now nominated candidates in this election. Coming up against Terrence Deyalsingh, coming up against Penelope Beckles Robinson, coming up against Dominic Romain, and coming up against your yours truly, Marvin Gonzalez. But it gets even more interesting because it was Gary Griffith who said on numerous occasions that when he was Minister of National Security in the government of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, he was fired because he decided to take certain stance against members of his colleagues who were involved in criminal activity. He said that he stood against what was well known to us today as live sport, and he stood against Arnold Roberts for his involvement in live sport, and that is the reason why he was fired from the government of Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Recently, he said that these people are now, they continue to be operatives in this political party, and it is for that reason he can no longer form an alliance with the United National Congress, and he described them as a criminal gang. He described them as a criminal gang. And I want to tell you here today in Arima that we are not only fighting the gang leaders on the Beetham. We are not only fighting the gang leaders in Laventille. We are not only fighting the gang leaders in Pinto. We are not only fighting the gang leaders in Karapo. We are not only fighting the gang leaders in Sangre Grande, but we are fighting those who perpetuate criminal activity in the political corridors of Trinidad and Tobago, because the UNC, I believe, is one of the biggest criminal gangs in Trinidad and Tobago. They are. Look at who they continue to put forward before you. Just earlier on today, the candidate who is coming up against me in Aruka Lopino, a young doctor, I'm told that she is, and I want to commend her for offering herself in public service in Trinidad and Tobago. But how on earth, as a young person, you could find yourself in the company of someone who is wanted on extradition charges in the United States of America? What kind of example are you setting as a young doctor and a young professional by walking the streets of my constituency with someone who is wanted on extradition charges for all crimes and all manners of conduct in his international dealings? They are a shameful bunch. And I want to tell you that the reason why they are entering into elections in Trinidad and Tobago, it is because they are being offered key positions of governance in this country. Who will be your Minister of National Security? Who will be your Attorney General? Who is going to guard your interests when the entire United National Congress comprises of people who have cocoa in the sun and who wish to control certain arms of the state to ensure that they do not have their day in court? It is a very serious matter facing all of us here in this country. It is a very serious matter facing all children of this country, because the reason why they are fighting for political office in this country is because they do not wish to have their day in court. And therefore, I want to tell you here in Arima that the fight against crime in this country is not a fight not only in the streets or in the communities, but it is a fight that must be taken in the parliament, in the offices, and those powerful people who are utilizing their resources to perpetuate crime and criminal conduct in Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, the UNC is not the response, and it is not the answer to that. And therefore, on April the 28th, when we go to the polls and we get up in the morning and we do our morning offering and we look to the hills and from whence cometh our help, because our help is in the name of the Lord. We are fighting a battle to save the children of this country. We are fighting a battle to ensure that criminals do not enter the corridors of power. And when we do that and we register our votes solidly for the People's National Movement, we will use the majority that you will give us on election day, and we will ensure that those who commit crimes against the people of this country will have their day in court, and they will sit down in prison and not see the corridors of power and public office to save their skins. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a serious battle that must not be taken for granted. Rally all your troops in the communities, whether you are from Arima, whether you are from Mausika, whether you are from St. Joseph or Tunapuna, whether you are from Sangre Grande, whether you are from Mausika, whether you are from La Hoqueta Talparo or Aruca Lopino, we will lock arms, and on the night of the 28th of April, we will say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall and we will always prevail. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We don't want no bad vibes in the land. Red army ready up for the task.
Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Marvin Gonzalez is one of the greatest things to happen to the People's National Movement, to Aruca Lopino, and to Trinidad and Tobago. And we are well pleased to have had him here tonight in Arima, and we are even more pleased to have him serve with distinction as our Minister of National Security. You heard him here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, telling us the frightening truth that there are elements associated with nefarious activities who are offering themselves up to you to be your government here in Trinidad and Tobago. Are you prepared to accept that? Are you prepared to accept delinquency in government? Do you want a Prime Minister who gets to work at 11 a.m. and checks out at 1 p.m.? Do you want a Minister of National Security who probably may be wanted by the Ministry of National Security? Do you want any upstart serving in your parliament who will be rude and obnoxious and not serving the interests of the people, but rather serving for self-aggrandizement? If you do not want those things, your only choice is the People's National Movement. And if you're voting for Marvelous Marvin, if you're voting for Uncle Terry, if you're voting for Dominic Romain, and if you're voting for Penelope Beckles, let all of Trinidad and Tobago hear you here right now, Arima. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the son of a former Minister of Government. You may not know that, but you know him as Ziggy Rankin. Please welcome all the way from Diego Martin, Mr. Ziggy Rankin.
Yes, I. Arima, somebody say yeah, yeah. We read and we ready. Who read and ready? Say yeah, yeah. All right, let me get a small thing there. We passing. Read them up. Whoa, whoa, Lordy. Well, then, baby girl, I know that you were never in love with me. It's always a show every time we pass with my good friend. So please let me know so me could have come out this misery. Cause I know one, my dreams them, hey, and then me you love me so. Blaze on this Ziggy can make it instant. Know me a rude boy, you know me no ramp. Put you up front. Somebody say yeah, yeah. On the 28th, who we voting for? Right. But we had to watch the other people. Be careful of them, you know, they're dangerous. But we say, who God bless what happened? I want everybody to sing this together. We go and wipe out all bad mind. Because we don't know where we're going and who we're voting for. Read them up. I'm going real old school with this one. Because it's real. Stay on the straight and narrow path, all you. We keeping it real. We say if you're not red, you're dead. Whoa, Lord, 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 Lord. Hey. Whoa, no, 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 no. Hey. Lordy. Arima. Bringing this together. We bonded them out. Go, sir. Hey! Man. You don't know. Your worst enemy could be a warlord, and your best friend, your worst. What happened? Some will eat and drink with you. Real talk. Then behind them, hey, only your friend know your secrets. So only he could Arima, sing. Anuda. Somebody tell them. Hey, who the cap fit? Let them wear it. I said I throw me card, but me no call no foul. I me say look. Only hear the real part. Some will hate you. What? Pretend they. Then behind they try to elude me. But who? Somebody tell them. Not at all. Thank God. We're past the worst. Hypocrites and parasites. Oh Lordy. We'll come up and take a bite. Real talk. And if your night should turn today, a lot of people would run away. Anuda, Arima, tell them, red and ready, who the care fits. Let them wear it. I said that show me God, but me no call no foul. I me say cluck. Clock. I me say cluck. Clock. Love and respect. We ready. Somebody say yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, who the cap fit, you know. I hope you all understand the message in that song. So a concerned patriot sent me a message a short while ago because he's taking in this meeting live. And he asked me to remind each and every one of you in this audience and to remind the live viewing and listening audience of the following undisputed facts. They canceled the rapid rail and then they complain about the potholes in the road. They left the Brian Lara Stadium to rot and then sabotaged it after we opened it. They destroyed our aluminum industry before it even had a chance to happen. They made a lot of noise about Caroni Limited and agriculture and left most of the land idle. They canceled the John Hopkins Teaching Hospital, Charlotte Gordon and Frederick Street site. The crane sections were already there. And then they make one set of noise when the Port of Spain General Hospital old main block sustained and survived earthquake damage. They're saying the PNM has mismanaged the economy, yet they're saying the country has enough money for freeness for all. Really and truly, is that a credible bunch that you could put into government, ladies and gentlemen? A bunch of crooks, that's right. But you know who are not crooks? The people in the PNM. And ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is certainly miles and miles above any competition, anybody in the opposition, and anybody who dares challenge her. In 1992, the people of Arima Northeast elected her as the councillor for their electoral district, and she served on the Arima Borough Corporation. In 1995, she was appointed as an opposition senator, very young in her 30s, as a young promising attorney at law, and she was a vociferous, passionate champion for the people. In 2000, we, the people of Arima, elected her to be our member of parliament, and she served with distinction until 2010. From 2015 to 2020, she served as the permanent representative to the United Nations in New York on behalf of our country, Trinidad and Tobago. In 2020, we reinstated her as our member of parliament in Arima, and on April 28th, we're going to put her back again. From the hills of Arima Northeast to the shores of Lafayette and Blanchisseuse, from the rivers of Valencia to the village of Aripo, Wallafield, Demerara, Agua Santa, Arima proper, she is our member of parliament, and she is welcomed in every single home, bar none, ladies and gentlemen. Proven, trusted, experienced, and loyal, she is, without doubt, the senior stateswoman of the People's National Movement. She has nurtured our young people, including myself, her niece and nephew Bridget behind, young Shane John, Dr. Gabby James. She has nurtured all of us. She has fought for the people of Arima with every fiber of her being. She has fought for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. She has been an outstanding Minister of Planning and Development in a post-COVID era for all of us here in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our incoming Member of Parliament for Arima, the Honorable Penelope Althea Beckles Robinson.
Arima, 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 Arima. Arima, had it Maturita, had it Santa Rosa, had it Doña Ruca, had it well Arima, had it Maturita, had it Santa Rosa, had it Doña Ruca, had it well Arima, had it Maturita, had it Santa Rosa, had it Doña Ruca, had it well Arima, had it Maturita, had it Santa Rosa, had it Doña Ruca, had it well Arima, had it Maturita, had it Santa Rosa.
Okay, good night, everybody. Okay, let's give all our persons visiting from all over Trinidad and Arima welcome. Yay, yay! And I see like the rain wants to come. So this is a special blessing that I'm receiving. And I want to continue to acknowledge my cabinet colleagues, Senator the Honorable Donna Cox, the Honorable Terrence Deyalsingh, my brother Marvin, and of course our soon-to-be Member of Parliament, Dominic Romain. Yeah, give it up. You know, so I have been receiving a couple text messages, and in the interest of the possible fact that rain might fall, I'm going to go a little faster. But I want to say to the people of Arima and to welcome my new district of Valencia, all the people who are here from Valencia. And I want to spend a few minutes simply talking about what the People's National Movement has done. Because, you know, sometimes as I walk, and I walk all over my constituency, and people still say that the PNM has done nothing. I have to study them. Because you see, when they say that, some of them really believe it. And they believe it because sometimes the PNM has done so many things that people forget. And I want to remind you of some basic things, because sometimes it's the basic things that we forget. And if you remember, you say, yes, PNM. Because you know there are 3 parallel roads. that in a sense can take you from Port of Spain almost to Sandy Grande or to Arima. The Eastern Main Road, built by the bus route and the highway. And that has given us options, and that is because of vision and leadership of the People's National Movement, starting with Dr. Eric Williams, going to Patrick Manning, going to Keith Christopher Rowley, George Chambers, and now to our Honorable Stuart Young. And that is infrastructure. And we are not going to deny that we don't have improvement, we don't need improvement in our roads. I represent the constituency of Arima. And together with His Worship, the Mayor and councillors, yes, we could always do better. But what we don't remember is because our economy continues to thrive, because the People's National Movement has ensured that you have had a better standard of living and have given you options, subsidies in housing, subsidies in healthcare, subsidy in education, that many communities that you go to, some people have 2 and 3 cars in their yards. And why is that? And that is because when you look at our per capita income compared with many other parts of the world, we have done very well. But many of us don't want to admit it. But when we travel to other parts of the world and we listen to what other people have to say, it is only then we remember how well, over the years, the People's National Movement has governed Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to remind you about the housing sector. Because if you leave from Arima and you go all the way to Port of Spain, La Joqueta phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Malabar 1, 2, 3, 4, Carina Gardens right here, several housing developments in Lopino, in St. Joseph, in Tunapuna, all constructed because of the vision of the People's National Movement. Come on, give it up. And I want to take the opportunity to record my thanks and appreciation to my colleague, the Honorable Terrence Deyalsingh. Because, you know, so often we don't recognize that it's because of vision and leadership that we have gotten the reputation of having one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Now, I'm not saying because you come to me and you would complain at times that you have to wait too long in the healthcare center. But then there are those of you who have told me that you have visited the new hospital and that many of you say that is one of the best hospitals constructed by any government, offering the best service, first-class service. And I want to say that you now have a modern ICU. You have what is called PACS, modern radiology, lab information systems, and you now can have general surgery, pediatric surgery, urology surgery, ophthalmology, internal medicine, pediatric service. And if you go to that hospital there is free Wi-Fi, dialysis, physiotherapy, psychology, medical social work, nutrition and dietetics, CT, MRI scans, mammography, ultrasound-guided biopsies, interventional radiology, and I could go on and on and on. And that is your taxpayers' money working for you. Yes, you need to clap about it. But it's not only in Arima, in Point 14, in Sandy Grande, hospitals all built and constructed by the People's National Movement. And the recent Port of Spain, the block opened in Port of Spain with 540 beds. Come on, let's give it up for the People's National Movement. So whether you talk about the health sector, whether you talk about the education sector, and I'm just going to say a couple important things. sometimes nationally and sometimes in Arima. Many of you complained that we didn't have enough sixth form places. And you would have, any one of you that would go to the Holy Cross College would see that works have been completed, and it's one of the best improved schools in terms of infrastructure in Arima and in Trinidad and Tobago. If you go to Arima Central, it was just last year that the Honorable Nyan Gadsby Dolly visited that school. Yes, give it up as well for the work constructed, work done by the Arima Central. You would recall that there was a Hindu school on Temple Street in Arima that was burnt, and there is now a new facility on Cocorit Road in Arima. Yes, give it up. So why is it important for us to say these things? Because even there are some of you here that sometimes doubt exactly what it is the People's National Movement has done. And often it is because the marketing strategy that was adopted by the UNC, we haven't adopted that strategy. It doesn't matter what they opened, but you would see them, even things that were constructed under the PNM, they would take credit for it and give no credit to the People's National Movement. And one of the things that we have to do better as a government is to make sure that when we complete our projects, that we make sure that the population is aware of that. And that is one of the things that we are going to be working on. I want to thank my colleague, Senator, the Honorable Donna Cox. And yes, on each and every occasion that I've written to her, I've gotten my replies, because you all come to the office and you all know very well whether it is your pension is late, your public assistance, you come, and the Ministry of Social Development gives very good service. Now, it may not be perfect, because some of you complain from time to time, but one thing I'm sure about is that when the letters are written and your requests are made, there it is that you get your answers. So I want to thank her for bringing the news to the people of Arima that there will now be an office open in Arima, and you would no longer have to go to Tunapuna, and you would no longer have to go to Sandy Grande. I also want to say, so that those of you who have had challenges from time to time in having to travel, you now have that opportunity where it will be right in Arima, opened in 2025. I also want to remind you that the town hall of Arima that has not been opened, yes, the contractor has completed his work. It's almost 90+% completed, that the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago has agreed to the monies that are outstanding for the contractor, and very often we will see our town hall open again. Yes, give it up. Also, the Board of Inland Revenue Office, the Cabinet has agreed to the construction of what we would call a facility, an administrative complex, and that administrative complex will include a number of the offices, a number of the, well, whether it's BIR, whether it's the payment of your taxes, whether it is social development, whether it's a library. Okay, that facility will be constructed at the Robinson Circular, which is just south of this area going around the savannah. You would have a new administrative complex. Part of the land has already been acquired, and we are now going to get another piece of land to ensure that there will be sufficient parking. So I want again to give it up to my cabinet colleague, the Honorable Alison West, for ensuring that that decision that is taken for the construction of the administrative complex for Arima, which has long been outstanding, will finally be done. The Honorable Marvin Gonzalez indicated about the multiplicity of water projects that have been completed. So it is not just the people of Pinto and Santa Rosa, but the people of Calvary and Mount Pleasant. You have been complaining, and I know that the water supply has improved tremendously, And I know that because I'm no longer getting any calls in my office as it relates to that. I want to remind some of you that if you think about what Heights of Aripo, Heights of Guanapo, Demerara Road, 20 years ago, no water and no electricity. And today, if you go to Demerara Road, you would see that the government has invested in more than $20+ million. Road infrastructure, drainage, and soon at least a community center to be constructed is that way. Please visit Demerara Road and see the kind of work that has been done by the People's National Movement. I also want to say to you that when you talk about performance of the government, think about what some communities looked like 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and think about what it looks like today. So I can recall, because I was a member of parliament then, I can recall when Heights of Aripo didn't have electricity and water. I can recall when Heights of Guanapo didn't have electricity and water. I can recall when Paria did not have electricity and water. And under the leadership and governance of the People's National Movement, all those areas can now say that there is improvement in either electricity, water, or both. Give it up for the People's National Movement. So to the people of Arima and environs, it is important for you to remember that when we talk about representation, and that is what all my colleagues who are here offering themselves are talking about, representation. I take pride in the opportunity to represent the constituency of Arima. And I want to say to you that whilst the parliament gives many members of parliament 1 office, 2 offices, or 3 offices, as in my case, I have 3 offices, and I want to talk about it a little bit because it's important. I have an office in Blanchisseuse, I have an office in Santa Rosa Heights, and I have an office right here in Arima on Guanapo Street. But because of the length and breadth of the constituency, I have developed the concept of roving office days. And roving office days simply mean that I go to the various communities. So I will go to Aripo, I will go to Monlacqua, I will go to Wallafield, I will go to Agua Santa, I will go to Mausica Lands, I will go to Calvary, and very soon I will also be going to Valencia. And that is what representation is about. Because very often, one of the main issues that you hear from time to time is people do not see their representatives, and they only see you once every 5 years. Well, I will not say that there may be persons who would not say that, but I will say to you tonight that I have made every effort to ensure that I'm accessible at all times to my constituents of Arima. And I have the good fortune of representing what I consider to be one of the most beautiful parts of Trinidad and Tobago. You know, my area actually starts in Las Cuevas, so I have the villages of La Follette, Blanchisseuse, Monlacqua, Paria, coming now all the way back to Valencia. And it is not easy to represent such a constituency, but because of my love for my constituency, my dedication, and my support, and the energy and support that I get from the people of Arima, I will continue to serve you. I know that the rain is falling, so therefore I don't propose to go much longer. But I want to remind you that it is important on the 28th of April that you go out in your numbers, vote for the People's National Movement, vote for the PNM, vote for Marvin Gonzalez, vote for Dominic Romain, vote for Terrence Deyalsingh, vote for Penelope Beckles. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. Thank you.
Arima, Arima had it, Maturita had it, Santa Rosa had it, down your
length and breadth of the constituency of Arima. Let me hear you make some more noise for your Member of Parliament for the constituency of Arima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson.
Maturita had it, Santa Rosa had it, down your
Arima, it is clear that your PNM standard bearer has been definitely all in and will continue to be all in for your continued development of the constituency of Arima. Let me hear you make some noise for your proud daughter of the soil, a veteran in the political things, Miss the Honorable Penelope Beckles. So as we know, we must give thanks. So help me in welcoming another daughter of the soil, a member of the Arima Borough Corporation, the Councillor for Arima Northeast, the young, the talented Councillor Kim Garcia.
Good evening, Arima. What a night, what a celebration, and what a movement. Let's give it up one more time for the phenomenal, passionate, and powerful remarks from our candidate for Arima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson. Her words tonight reminded us of who we are, what we stand for, and where we are going. Before anything else, let's give it up for incredible hosts, Laura Lazama Leasing and Patrick Phillip, the youth chairman of the PNM National Youth League. And to all our other presenters for masterfully guiding us through this evening with passion and flair. Heartfelt thanks to the entire head table. Our Mayor, His Worship Bali Ram Maharaj. Our esteemed ministers, our distinguished speakers who came from near and far to stand with us shoulder to shoulder to our candidates, Dominic Romain, Terrence Deyalsingh, Minister of Health, Senator, the Honorable Donna Cox, and our featured speaker, Marvin Gonzalez, our Minister of National Security. Thank you. Thank you for your vision, your fire, and your commitment to people-first leadership. We give thanks to the Almighty Father who continues to cover our movement, the People's National Movement, with favor and strength. To our amazing entertainers, thank you for bringing the vibes and reminding us that our culture moves with our message. Also, special thanks to the protective services, all media personnel, and the entire campaign team, without whom none of this would have happened. And of course, you, the people of Arima and beyond. Give yourself a round of applause. Yes. This energy, this love, this unity is the heartbeat of the PNM. And as we prepare for our final performer, Preeti, who will bring the vibes to close out the night, I want us to first lift our voices and declare what we already know in our hearts. And on April 28th, after all the ballots have been counted, and when the dust has settled and the victory is ours, we shall sing in one voice, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have prevailed. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Arima. Are you ready to go home? Are you ready to go home? Are you all in? Are you all in? On April 28th, who would you be voting for? Who would you be voting for? In Malabar Mauseka, who will you be voting for? In Aruka Lopino, who will you be voting for? In the constituency of Arima, who will you be voting for? Because great is. Help me in welcoming the young, the talented, pretty.
I'm not coming home. Yeah. I'm not coming home. But I in the party. No send no search party could find me. Pretty with another man. We are the island. I tell you what.
Only let me turn it into a wet bed now. Let me turn it into a wet bed.
Hey. Don't pray for me. If I don't come home in the morning, just know that I safe, not in my place. But it's my
The rain can't stop me until everybody off to the side.
If anyone who gives
let me get away.
You can find me where bumper shaking. I am eating people venting. So can please, if they want to know, tell them you can find me out on the road.
On your friend rain. On your friend rain. Start to jump, say.
Don't send a third party to find me. I out on the road online. Tell them that the soca have me. You go see me. Don't send a search party to find me. I out on the road already. Tell them that the soca have me. You go see me. Tell them I'm not going home tonight. I'm not going home tonight. Once I in the party, girl, don't send no search party to find me. I'm not coming home tonight. I'm not coming home tonight. I'm drunk in the party, so I don't think no search party.
Only say we get the general to stand up. Only see we get the general to stand up. Everybody say, all day I beaten road. All day we beaten road. All day I beaten road. All day we beaten road. When the street hit me, I beaten. Hey, beaten. When the street hit me, I beaten. Hey. Let me see how stick you could get. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could get. Let me see how stick you could. See how stick you could. See how stick you could get. Wet me down. 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 Right now I overeat it. Wet me down. 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 Right now I overeat it. Look, I want to see how they do the dance. Do the dance. Do the dance. Do the dance. Do the dance, Sarah. Do the dance. Everybody hands up high. Hands up high. Hands up high. Put something up in the sky. High. And sing it. I say, all day I beaten road. All day I beaten road. When the spirit hit me, I beaten road. When the spirit hit me, I beaten road. Hey, start to wave. Let me see how think you good. See how think you good. Let me. Now only have a special message for this next song. Only all in. If you're all in, put one finger in the air right now. All I wanted to do when I sing in this song is say, whoa, tell them me all in, whoa, tell them me all in, tell them me all in, tell them me all in. Squeeze.
This is the time. I said this is the time.
This side.
Ready,
I'm not seeing all they're giving my way. All they're hiding from the rain hour.
This is the time. This is the place. The future is here. No time to waste. We build on the strength of those who trod this road before.
Shut it again.
Come in as I feel the light shining so bright in we heart and we soul. Red, black and white. Together
jump up. Start to jump up. Hey, hey. Tell them we ready already. The things are set already. Tell them we all in, we all in, we all in. Tell them we ready already. All you know is your time. No. 1, 2, 3, say. Whoa. Tell them we all in. Tell them we all in. Whoa. Tell them we all in. Tell them we all in. Tell them we all in.
We under the same sky, feeling the same things. The movement is forward, we all the same thing. Together we aspire, so we must achieve. Call the red army, the whole of TNT.
So tell them we ready already. The things are set already. Tell them we all in, we all in, we all in. Don't know we ready already. The things are set already. Tell them we all in, we all in, we all in. Say whoa. Tell them we all in, whoa.
Just tell them we all in, whoa. Tell them we all in, tell them we all in. Fire in the soul, a nation so strong. Through the heart of the people, the victory is won. We fight for tomorrow, we fight for today. Stand strong together.
PNM, make some noise for your 4 PNM standard bearers.
Even though the road is long, no matter what come, I know I'm gonna make it. Yes, I'm gonna make it. Even though the road is long, no matter what come, I know I'm gonna make it.
The preceding program was a paid political broadcast.
This is TTT. Live for local.
12th Man, brought to you by Coca-Cola, sharing in the real magic of